It's great to be back. I missed you.
It's great.
I love you too, Billy.
Hey, let's look. We've had sports taking the high road.
Yeah.
Most recently, we're holding Urban Meyer to account for the behavior of his assistant coaches, and we have Roberto, Osuna, and the Astros players having a little trouble bringing him in. Are we expecting too much, or are they trying to deliver too much in the terms of the moral high ground
Well, the
here?
coaches, they should.
The coaches and the players.
When a player steps out of line, we don't blame the player. What do? We blame the coach, don't we? Especially at the college level. So if a coach steps out of line, absolutely you look at a guy who has known him his entire life, has he not? I'm talking about Urban Meyer. He sits up there and lies about it. I think we got to hold the coaches, especially sports. I think sports can set the example for the entire country on how we should handle domestic violence. And I think what Ohio State's doing, I think he's going to keep his job. The longer this goes on, I think he keeps his job. But the Houston Astros, why would you employ a guy who has been out of baseball for 75 games, and there's more to come? So you're bringing that cancer on your team already. I don't get it. I wouldn't do it. I'd have a policy: if you commit domestic violence, you're not on the club. Simple.
That's pretty harsh.
It is. Back to John's point about Urban Meyer, when you're in his position, it's the domestic violence issue is that issue. He did not commit that crime, but the cover-up worse than the crime. And Urban Meyer, at every level of that, I think handled it more and more poorly. And it's about this man as a leader. Also, this man who's making what, $8 million a year?
He's still owed $40 million.
If you're going to take that money, you are responsible. Doesn't mean you can stop people from doing things, but you are supposed to be the leader of men, leader of that franchise, we'll say.
No, it's not leader of men, it's leader of children. Listen, that guy is the highest paid state employee in the state of Ohio, for goodness sake. And that man walks into the homes of 15, 16, and 17-year-old kids and looks at their mothers and fathers and says, not only am I going to take care of your son, not only am I going to make him a football player, but I'm going to make him the man that he needs to be to move forward. And then something like this happens and you throw your hands up and go, well, I didn't know how to deal with it? Don't look me in the face as a parent. Tell me you're going to raise my kid for me in 4 years, and then, oh, well, I don't know what to do now.
Well, forget the contract clause, but don't you think it's setting the bar pretty high to require the supervisor to be totally responsible for the people that work under him?
Yes, I agree with you, but that's not the case here. We have proof that Urban Meyer knew 3 years ago. It was in his home. His wife had pictures of it. Listen, if something's going on and a coach doesn't know about it, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But now that you lied about it and it's proven, right? Come on, man.
And you can't use the paternal thing where I pass the buck to the people upstairs, which the paternal supporters will say. Don't say you told your AD and then you left it with him. You can't. He works for you.
Like for you being Mr. Penn State, sort of having to relive the entire thing.
Very, very similar in the fact that Urban Meyer lies and then comes back and says, I told the people upstairs about it. And that's basically what it comes down to.
And yet, is it fair if I draw an analogy to what goes on in the White House now and passing fact checks and all the rest of this thing, that lying has become a way of life in this country?
Well, what has become? Lying's always been a way of life. Now we have a way to catch you in your lie. That's the difference.
Right, and the difference is if you want to get Urban Meyer out, you can fire him. There's certainly different mechanisms in place politically. You're not firing a political person. It's very different. And the way the fans of Ohio State came out and support him, and you got Ezekiel Elliott's father coming out and support him with his own issues in the NFL, supporting a coach for that.
It's typical for every Ohio State coach over the last 40 years has always left. It's been kind of low, right?
It sounds like a Penn State guy talking.
This is Rochester Press Box.
By the way, I will say this, every time Urban Meyer talks, don't you feel you need to take a quick body shower over the last? Don't you think you need a quick body shower every time he talks? Even going back to his days at Florida, just a quick one.
I think you made your point.
No sponge bath.